You're still tuned to us, and if you're just joining us, this is Daybreak Africa reaching you from Ondo State. I am Kareen Edet. So on our today's episode, we'll be considering International Day of People with Disability. We know that this set of persons very often are always exempted from most of our activities in the society, be it political plans, be it education and other sectors. And today we have in the studio a former chairman of People with Disability Ondo chapter in person of Samuel Ibukun. We trust that he will do justice to all of our questions today, and at the end of the day would stick to our administration of renewed hope. Good to have you in the studio.
Well, a very good morning to you.
And I want to say that I feel highly honored to be invited to this studio. This studio, at the grace of God, this media outfit, is no doubt one that that carries everybody along. It doesn't, seclude or differentiate or discriminate from, people with disabilities from other people out there, as we find in some media outfit. So I want to give kudos to the management of this media outfit, and I want to pray that the good Lord will continue to sustain you in your endeavors.
Amen.
So
Thank you.
once again, I want to say thank you for having me in this program.
Right. Thank you very much for thanking us. All right, looking at the discussion of the day, the theme for this year's celebration being every 3rd of December, we have the United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the Sustainable Development Goal for, with, and by persons living with disabilities. This is something very, most people will not really understand it, but you as a person inside and with understanding of what is really going on, what is your take on the theme for this year's celebration?
Thank you very much. Once again, viewers at home, I want to see how are you doing. I hope everything is going on fine. Well, to start with, like you rightly pointed out, the theme for this year's celebration, if you look at it critically, for the past years, let me say about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and even up to last year, there has been this word in all the themes: inclusiveness, inclusiveness. And if you look at this year's theme critically, you will see SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals. In the years past, it has been Millennium Development Goals. So United Nations, being what it is and what it is known for, has set out this date, December 3rd of every year, to really carry persons with disabilities all over the world, along, and to kind of create an awareness to the public concerning the plight of persons with disabilities. And United Nations, in all that it has been doing and what it's noted for, is that it has to do with so many things. Projects that has to do with welfare, poverty, could be sanitation, could be water, it could be anything. So persons with disability too have been incorporated into all these projects. So the Millennium Goals that I was trying to mention at that time is that there has been a 15 years, period set aside for the Millennium Goals, and that 15 years has passed. Now that is since 2015. So from 2015 now to this present year, it is now Sustainable Development Goals. But like the theme of this year now, if you look at it critically, it says United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the SDGs for, with, and persons with disabilities. The unfortunate thing is that all over the world, where persons with disability are being celebrated on every 3rd of December, I want to say, though it's rather unfortunate that all the developed worlds, if you go there, study the lifestyle of the well-being and welfare of persons with disabilities there, you come to understand that even if you are not someone that is that is having one form of disabilities or the other, you will want to in a way bring yourself so low or to the status of person with disabilities, because the kind of things they enjoy the way they are, these people are catered for, the kind of welfare, the kind of provisions made for them there will make you want to feel that should I even bring myself low to the status of person with disabilities? But in our country here, it is quite unfortunate. Things are not working for us.
Exactly. So, you made mention of Nigeria as a country.
Yes, sir.
I am a person, I believe, they say charity begins at home. And in as much as you've been mentioning the United Nations, of course, let's bring it back.
I was coming to that. The sustainable development goal I was trying to mention. I mentioned Millennium Development Goals. That is 15 years. The sustainable development goals now is that, for instance, you cannot build something on nothing. United Nations, thought that the first 15 years that is meant for Millennium Development Goals, that people with disabilities, some things ought to have been set, put on record for us. You understand now? So look at the things. The theme of this year is talking about that, to sustain it. You understand now? But when we don't have anything that has been built, then what do we sustain? Are you getting it now? So United Nations, I think it wise, or let me say, thought it wise to have given us the theme for this year. But in this part of the world, that's what I'm trying to say. What have we built that we want to sustain? That's where I'm going. You understand now? That's what have we built that we are going to sustain? So in this part of the world, in Nigeria, like I said the other time, it's quite unfortunate that though I would say government is trying now, it's now. If what government is doing now, if government has been doing what it's doing now, maybe person with disabilities would have been, maybe taken to a higher pedestal than what we have now. But the government of Nigeria and some states now, they've just started now. So, and if care is not taken, we've been left behind. That is the truth. That's the better truth. We'll be left behind. But for instance, now we have just 7 years now for this. The SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goal now, to lapse, because it's 15 years that is set. You understand now, so that the United Nations want to watch and see those things that can be, that can be brought on board as regards person with disabilities. That will impact our lives. You understand now? So, but now that nothing has been built that we can sustain, that is where we are today. Okay, now. So, and for instance now, I want to talk further about the theme. Take United in action to rescue and achieve the SDGs for, with, and you see, one thing is that if you look at it now, for, with, and by. Just like democracy, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, what the United Nations, thought about this is that persons with disabilities should be able to have some things for themselves, be it for themselves. For instance, there's a slogan that we use that you can't do anything for us without us. But the reverse is the case. In most states in Nigeria today, what the society and sometimes the government, what they just do for persons with disabilities is just to gather some people that are able-bodied. They gather them in a place, they discuss issues that has to do with persons with disabilities without carrying them along. And by the time they conclude those matters, they will just invite persons with disabilities that come here, this is what we have on ground for you, not knowing whether that is the actual thing that we need or not. So, and I think we call that misplaced priority, because, for instance, as I am now, if you don't know what I really want, okay, you present me with a wheelchair, and that is not what I need. You understand now? So, to me, that wheelchair, I may take it, I may not want to reject it. You understand now? I may want to take it, accept it from you. At least just to show appreciation that, okay, thank you for what you have done. But that's not the real thing that I need. At that point in time, it could be crutches, it could be anything that I need. So if you had carried me along the first instance and asked me what I really want, that thing that will really impact my life, I would have been able to tell you this is what I want. Maybe this is what I don't want. So this is the actual thing that is happening here as regards this thing. So United Nations want the government of every, be it at the federal, the state, and the local level, to really carry person with disability along. They want us to sit down, have a rapport with the government, society, and to really, fashion a way out through which we too, you understand now, can, really think for ourselves and do things for ourselves the way that it will be, very pleasant and affect our lives positively.
Thank you.
So that is it.
Thank you very much.
So your portfolio tells that you were the former chairman of People with Disabilities Ondo chapter.
Yeah, I was persons with disabilities. We are into groups, about 5 or more groups. So one of the cluster, I happen to be the chairman of one of the cluster. That's a Ondo State chapter of persons with physical disabilities. Physical disability in the sense that people that have, lost maybe the upper limbs or the lower limbs. You understand now? That's the physical. We have the hearing impaired, we have the visual impaired, we have the albinos, and we have people that have spinal cord injury. So we are into groups. So I happen to be the state chairman, Ondo State chairman of persons with physical disabilities for years, for about 6-7 years. And I happen to be the JONAPID secretary. JONAPID is the umbrella body. That's Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities. That's the umbrella body of all persons with disabilities in Nigeria. So I was once the state secretary of JONAPID too.
All right, so thank you for that clarification. So I mean, I want to ask, as the chairman and as maybe one of the persons that have actually felt what it feels like to be special. I mean, I love to use the word special here, exactly, because
yes.
I mean, everyone
that is lovely. That
exactly.
Is good.
So I mean, how has it been so far in the states? Because you made mention about the federal government. Now, the federal government, I believe they would actually want to take care of the federal matters, but bringing it back to the state and the local government here in Ondo chapter, how has it been so far? Has the state government, the local government, have they been, I mean, doing their best in ensuring that they carry the special people along?
Thank you so much. That is a very nice question. Well, to the best of my ability, during the period that I was privileged to oversee some of the matters that has to do with persons with disabilities. Well, in this state, the former government, I mean the governor and government, in those years, they were trying to put some things on board, at least to make life, become meaningful for persons with disabilities. But in a way, it is, I would not want to use a kind of language that will be derogatory. So let me put it this way, that it is just like it is expected for a child now, at least to start from somewhere, at least start to crawl, learn to walk, and begin to walk. But in this state, our case has been, the kind of somebody that is expected to have, stood up and walk. But it is quite unfortunate that we are still crawling up to now. We are still crawling. No government will claim that they have done this, they have done that. But it is all on paper. Most of it are on paper. Most of it are on papers. When it comes to bringing it, I mean, to reality, you will get to know that most of these things, it's not what they have really painted out there. Successive government, I mean, a government in the past. You see, for instance, now we have government. I don't want to mention the name of past governors, but under some past governors, some of us in the state were employed. That was I'm talking about maybe 15 years ago. So we never had that opportunity until the present government of Ondo State came on board, and they employed few, I think about 30 or thereabout, of persons with disabilities. Although it is not purely persons with disabilities, because in a ministry and a parastatal, sometimes agencies, when they say they want to employ some people, some of the people at the end of affairs, the directors, and they will have a way of bringing in names of people that are not, for which that program is not originally meant for. So we have that too in this present, a group of people that were, employed recently, but it is said to be for persons with disabilities. You understand now? That is an area there. Then when you talk about yearly subvention, the present government have been trying what it could to do that, and what other areas. But there are so many things left undone. Like, for instance, health. That is very critical to our existence. Many persons with disabilities, you see them, you hear news about their sudden death. resulting from malaria, fever, and all these, affordable, causes. You understand now? Maybe sickness. So many of them. So the issue of health that really matters to persons with disabilities is nothing to write home about. The government is not doing anything about it. As of today, they're not doing anything about it. What of education? Well, somebody was telling me the other time that Ondo State has been giving a scholarship to some persons with disabilities. But if Ondo State has been doing it, I want to say that it is not enough. It is not enough, because if you want to look at it critically, persons with disabilities, we suppose the persons with disabilities and even their children is supposed to be given free education, totally free education. You understand now? Because what we spend in our education on our education is 10 times more than what everybody spend. For instance, people that are visually impaired now, you understand now, before they can really develop themselves education wise, there are a lot of things that they need to get. You understand now? The brain machine, paper, and all the rest, and these things are very, very costly. The albinos, there are some learning skills, then the aids that they need. The hearing impaired, there are some all these things are very costly. So ask me if the government is providing that for them to make learning very easy for them. So this thing has there. We've not gotten it. So there are so many areas that the government has not really touched.
Right.
But if you want me to rate them, I will rate the government. The present government, I will rate them 15%.
All right. That is, I am very sure they are listening, and I'm very also sure that the very soonest time they are going to do something good for the organization and help them a lot. Now, let's really take our views away from the government, because most time we always say government.
Yes.
Government. Now, my question is, talking about job acquisition, employment opportunity, educational standard, and the rest. So far, most people don't. We have people that are disabled in some way from birth, not even as a result of accident. And we know Africans as people, a lot of stigmatization about people like that. Okay, so you are from this, and a lot of beliefs that has been a big problem for a lot of people. You, as a person that understands this, what has been the problem so far in such region, such aspects, and how has there any step so far to eradicate such beliefs and situations in Nigeria so far, especially bringing it down to on those states?
Well, you mentioned Nigeria. Let me start from the top, then I'll come to the level of Ondo State. In Nigeria, generally, until very recently, when some when the commission was put in place, and one of us was appointed, I think James Lalu, as the executive secretary of the commission. And very recently, Honorable Abba Musa Mohammed was appointed by the president as a SSA, matters that had to do with persons with disabilities. Until very recent, until then, the issue of stigmatization, discrimination, is on the high side. It's on the high side, and you see, persons with disabilities sometimes. These are the set of people that should be empathized, not sympathized with. You understand? There's a difference between that. So, because most people, you see them when they see person with disabilities, they will not even care to, first of all, look at what they can offer, what they have upstairs. The first thing that they bring up, that will reflect, in their countenance is that this person is, let me sideline him. What can this one offer? Can anything good come out of this person's Nazareth? Let's forget about it. That is discrimination. You understand now? You have not even, allow that person to come close to you, and have, interaction with him to know what he can really bring about, the kind of stuff he's made of. But you have sidelined, you have, rejected him in a way. So this one is very rampant in the past. But now we thank God now that some organizations, and just like I said, when the commission was set, that some of our people have been working on it, and government too have joined hands to work on it, that persons with disabilities shouldn't be discriminated against. And before Buhari left, the former president, there is this bill that he signed, prohibition against discrimination, some laws that were made to guide and guard against discrimination, stigmatization, and all the rest. Although I wouldn't say that the law is it's very effective up to now. You know Nigeria, you know, for what we are when it comes to do with when it comes to do something that has to do with laws and all the rest. So let's now bring it to the level of our state here. Well, thank God for the kind of awareness we are creating through this platform today. I want to wish that this kind of opportunity, you know, come into place more and more than this. Because it is a platform that we can really, you know, let the society and the community know how people with disabilities should be catered for. You understand? Because some people, like you said, traditionally and you know, in some other ways, some believe that a person with, when you see a person with disability, they believe that it is maybe a curse is laid on him. That's the way some people view it.
Yes.
Sometimes I want to tell you, it may sound funny, but it's quite unfortunate. There was a time I wanted to board a taxi in this town. You do know that because I boarded that taxi, somebody has to he alighted from the bus because he didn't want to, she didn't want to sit beside me. You understand? She alighted because I boarded the taxi. I now asked the driver cab that do you know what made this person alighted from this? He said, bro, I don't know. I smiled and we continued with the journey. So that is an experience. And there was another experience that happened years back, is that although let me keep that. So there was this day I went to a bank in Akure to make some transaction. So when I got to the cabin, they did not want me to go into the banking hall. So the security men they came to me that brother, do I want to go in? What do I want to do? I should give it to them so that they will help me. I now look at it. Then I was the state chairman, like I said. So I now called him to like, come here. So don't I have right to my privacy? Must I employ your service to guide or help me for what I can do on my own? I said no. I will make sure I get into the banking hall, because what are you trying to say? Are you trying to deprive me of my right? Don't I know my right? I'm not a quack, I'm not an illiterate. So we dragged this matter until the manager of the bank came out that day, and I was leading. Honorably leading. You understand? But how many people with disabilities, you know, who even know anything that has to do with rights and all these things, that we even fight? Like I stood firm, you know, believing that I have right to enter into the banking hall, like the able-bodied, the so-called able-bodied. You understand now? So these are the issues there. Discrimination is still there, stigmatization is still there, and the government too is not helping matters. The society too, they are not helping matters. There are things that they ought to be doing that they have not been doing. From our end, we have been trying to make sure we sensitize the public that because there are some radio programs, television programs that we do feature in, and these are the things we try to do there to let them know that persons with disabilities, you know, should be, you know, brought on board. You be allowed their own, you know, their own fair share, even in government. We should be allowed to talk. Our voice should be heard. You understand? They should, you know, grant us, you know, freedom to speak our mind and to interact with the public and the society, so that at least we can have a better society. You understand now? So in most cases, we have been having a lot of problems, but thank God that there are some areas that we have been trying to record, you know, little sources. And I know in no distant time things will improve.
So still on that issue of stigmatization, there are some persons, I mean, it's actually I don't want to call.
No, start free. No.
All right. So, like you shared your experience, there are some persons who may not be able to express themselves exactly, and probably they feel intimidated to, you know, come out and actually speak out and tell that, okay, I can actually do this, because of that stigmatization, the trauma of being rejected, and all of that. So, I mean, how best can we initiate an open communication with these people to actually encourage them and actually let them know that, I mean, they can do more, you know, enhance their potential, and actually, you know, make them own themselves, because I mean it's one thing to accept yourself and another thing for the people to accept you too, because you must first accept yourself. So how best can we encourage them to let them know that I mean they are special, they are loved, they are respected, and also that they can actually do like every other person have been doing?
Thank you so much for that wonderful question. Let me start by saying this. We try in all forms to make sure that we tell our people that being a person with disability does not mean that the ability is not there. And we let them understand that the way you are dressed is the way you will be addressed. We also try, to tell them that if you don't blow your trumpet, I don't think anybody can blow it for you. And if anybody will dare blow it for you, that person may not be able or might not be able to blow it, the way that you want it to be. These are the things that we are trying to tell our members. In every forum where we find ourselves, when we are gathered, when we are doing one thing or the other. So we've been trying to tell them that. But the problem we are having is that many of us are in the remote areas. In the remote areas. You understand now?
Yes.
Some of them do not have the privilege of even coming to the limelight, of coming, to gather with some of us that that have, I don't know, how do I put it now? I don't want to stand somehow. Okay, let me put it this way. Some of them do not have the opportunity to come and join some of us now that are a little bit educated and higher than them. When we talk about privileges, let me put it that way. So that is one of the problems, and we don't have the means of reaching out to these people that are in the Riverine area. There are so many there. There was, these things may sound funny. There was a time about 10 years ago, thereabout. So I have a boss then. He's one of the lecturer in Akungba. This man in question, Dr. Rotimi Olubodede, is totally blind. He's visually impaired. But he's one of the senior lecturer lecturing mass comm in University of Akungba. Ondo State University, Akungba, rather. You understand now? So there was a time that they organized a program, and he did not go, but he sent some people, some of his subordinates. He happened to be one of the leaders in the in the cluster of visually impaired people. So they sent them to one of this remote area, Riverine area, and these people went there with their brain. They went with brain machine, their brain paper, and all the rest. So and they went to the braille paper they have already inscribed this thing on. So when these people got there and they were trying to read through the aid of braille, the people that are there that are that are visually impaired, he said these people are semi-gods, because they have never in their life had that a visually impaired person can read and write. Can you see how bad the situation is? So those people are there. Some were born there, they are still there 30, 40 years. You understand now? They are wasting away. So, and in this, that is how it is across, not even on those states, across the nation. So, that is one of the problems, we have. You understand now? So, we are trying to call them together, to talk to them, to sensitize them, to let them know that they shouldn't lose hope, because like you rightly said, if you have anything inside of you, potential talents, and you don't bring it on board for people to know, who knows, it might die within you there.
All right,
you understand?
I am about to
so that is it
now. Like, we are really out of time, and let me say in just 1 minute, I want you to give your words of advice to people, special people living with disability, people on the outside society, the government, and everyone putting hands together to make life a better place for these people. Just in 1 minute. Thank
you very much. Well, let me first of all congratulate and salute all persons with disabilities all over the world, and especially in Nigeria, and especially in Ondo State. As we are celebrating, I want every one of us to understand one thing in life. that once there is life, there is hope.
Yeah.
Just like the Bible said that a tree that is cut, that is cut, if the root can still touch water, it can still, sprout and bring up leaves. That is the way. That is what I want to tell persons with disabilities. Persons with disabilities across Nigeria and Ondo State, we must try as much as possible to make sure we live a very decent life. We shouldn't, see ourselves as dregs of the society and second-class citizens in this our society. To the public, the society, the community, I want them to love persons with disabilities and care for them. Some, sectors have been doing little to help them, but it is not enough. I still want them, I still want them to do more, to make these people feel loved, to make them have a kind of sense of belonging, that the society belongs to us all.
Yeah.
And they should see reason why they should accept us as we are, and always, inculcate us and bring us together when there are things that they want to do that will affect the lives of persons with disabilities. They should not just go ahead and decide for us. You understand? Just like the theme of this year celebration says, let them call us, because this thing they want to do is meant for us. So they should be able to call us so that we do it with them. You understand now? And even in some cases, allow us to do it on our own, so that we really have the impact inside of us. To the government, once again, I want to plead, please employ persons with disabilities. Many of us have certificates, degrees, 7 years, 10 years. There was a case, I don't have time, there was a case of one guy, visually impaired in Akure. He almost lost his life. When he was going about trying to look for a job, he fell into a ditch because he was using just a guide cane. He fell into a ditch, and he sustained varying degrees of injury. He was referred to medical center Owo. He's now getting better, and we know how much we have been able to spend because about major surgery was carried up, was conducted. How do we see now? Was conducted on him. You understand now? So these are the problems. Let the government employ us. Persons with disabilities, we don't have the ability to go to do odd jobs after school. We don't have it. For instance, myself now, can I go and join people that are doing bricklaying works and all the rest and carpentry works with this one limb? It's not possible. So people that are there, that are everybody, when they are out of school, they can still do all jobs to keep their body and soul together. But persons with disability that have tried, to go through education, to have our degrees, they should try as much as possible to help us. And it's not limited to the government, even the private sector too. Want to beg them, want to appeal to them that they should rally around persons with disabilities. Let them give them jobs. Let us offer our jobs. Let them try us and see whether we can really deliver or not. And we may be, having disabilities in our hands, in our legs, but let them try our brains. They will
so
understand that God has really deposited something in us.
Thank you so much
for coming on the program. All right, viewers, it has been an interesting discourse with guests in the house. Everybody living with disability are humans like you. They are intelligent. They must be loved. They must be cared for. Don't discriminate, because in them is embedded greatness. So don't just feel like it's you alone. We are all the same in the eyes of the Creator. So treat them as you want to be treated, and I believe the world will be a better place for us. From us, they will be handing over to our Lagos studio, which we believe they give you more interesting package. I remain Michael Obagiri.
And from my own end, I would love to say that these persons are special people. They didn't choose the life they have today. One circumstance or the other must have led to that, and this is why we must love, appreciate and respect them. Until we sit again next time, I remain Kareen Edet.